Hi and welcome to Stewart Gibbs Photography. Now today we're going to be shooting a Cinemagraph. Now if you don't know what one of those is, basically it is a still picture with one element moving. So essentially we're going to turn what is a video into a photograph with one moving part. Now to do this today I've got set up my 1 cup kettle as this, once it boils, pours the water automatically, and I'm going to use that as my moving part of the video along with the steam coming off it too. And once it's switched on, all this lights up blue, which looks wonderful as well, but unfortunately once the water starts pouring that switches off. But I'm going to show you how to get both of those elements into this video. Now to shoot our video today we're using our Fuji X-T20, which is set up in automatic video mode, and if you want to do this yourself you can use any camera you like as long as it records video. You are going to need a tripod or something sturdy to hold your camera on so that you don't get any movement during the shot. Now let's try filming this. So we're going to pop our kettle on. Now you see how it all lights up blue, and we're going to get ready just to shoot just a few seconds of video. We don't need a lot, we just need to get the movement in the picture. So now that's almost boiled, so I'm going to start that running, and now that's recording. You see, as it starts to pour, the steam comes up, and we want that as part of our moving picture, so we're going to stop that there. Now this is quite a simple Cinemagraph. You can do things a lot more complicated than this. I think in the future, if you would like us to, we will do a couple of other more advanced Cinemagraphs as well. Now we're going to run this into Photoshop, work some magic, and see what we can come up with. Follow me. Right, so I've grabbed myself a cup of tea, I've sat down at the computer and I've uploaded my video clip into Photoshop. You'll notice at the bottom that the timeline has opened up. That should automatically open when you import your video. If it doesn't, come up to Window, come down to your timeline, and then just ensure that that's checked, and then you should have your timeline at the bottom here. Now while I've been sat here, I've made a few adjustments to my video just so it's looking how I want it to look, and you can do that to your own taste too. Now the first thing we're going to do is find the start point for our video. Now we want it to be a nice continuous flow in the water coming out of the kettle, so I'm going to grab this bar here, I'm going to drag this along till I start to see water coming from the kettle in a nice flow. So bring that along, it's just starting to run there, and we're starting to get a nice flow round about there. So that's going to be the start of my clip. So I'm going to come back down to the start, and I'm going to drag that up to our start point, let go, and that will cut our video down to the start. Now the second thing I want to find is the end point for my clip. Now it only has to be 2 or 3 seconds long, as we're going to play this on a loop, so you don't need lots. So we're going to drag this down until we find a point in the video where it's still flowing nicely, and we want the blue of the kettle to still be on. Round about there, so it's just over 2 seconds long, and again we're going to come to the end of the video this time, and we're going to drag it down to where we want our end point to be, and that is the clip for our Cinemagraph. Now the next thing I want to do is duplicate this clip, so I'm going to come to the top of the video group. I'm going to drag that down into a new layers tab, so that has now given me 2 clips, both identical. Now then, we're going to select the bottom clip, and we're going to drag that along to the very end of the first clip. I'm going to come along and I'm going to drag the clip out to around about halfway into the first clip. Then I'm going to come to the end. I'm going to drag that down to the end point, so they're around about the same length. Perfect. Now the next thing I want to do is add an opacity to this so that we get a nice flow as it's going through. So I've brought the timeline bar to the start of the second video, and we're going to click the down arrow. We're going to come to opacity, and that's give us our first point. We're going to drag that over to the end of the clip, which is there, and we're going to click to add our end point in. So I'll play that quickly to see what it looks like. If you come to the settings tab here and click down, and just make sure that the loop playback is checked, and then that way the video will keep playing through. Now Photoshop's lagging a little bit today, but we're going to just play the clip through so we can see what it looks like. Make sure that there's a nice flow to the video, and it's not jumping, and it looks nice on the transition between the start of the next sequence. Let's check what that's like, and that looks pretty good, so we're going to stop that. Now the next thing we're going to do is, now this is a video clip, so we want to turn this into a Cinemagraph, so we're going to need a photo layer. So I'm going to click on the video tab group 1 copy at the top, so we're selecting everything into a snapshot. So to do that, we're going to press Control Alt Shift and E, and that will bring us up a photograph layer. Now we want to drag that down so it's the same length as our clips. Now if I was to press play on this now, nothing's going to move because we've just got a still image over the top of our videos. Now to bring through the video from underneath, we want to come across to our image layer, and we're going to drag that down to create a layer mask. And we want to make sure that our foreground colour for our layer mask is selected as black and our background colour as white, and we're going to come up and choose a brush. Want quite a nice soft brush. Make sure that it's big enough. It is, that's perfect. And then what we're going to do is we're going to paint black over the part of the picture that we want to see moving. So I've done that. If you want to see your selection, if you press the backslash button, and you should there be able to see what you've selected. If you've done too much, just switch the colours and paint back over the top of that in white. So I'm going to switch our indicator off, and we can bring that to the start of the video and press play, and we'll see what that looks like. So we now have our Cinemagraph starting to come to shape. Now that looks pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. There's a few things we can do to the actual picture itself to make it look that little bit nicer, and there's probably bits and pieces on the side that could do with getting rid of, and I don't like the cord from the kettle either, so I'm going to get rid of that. So while I do that, we'll fast forward through, and you can sort your picture as you need at the same time. So there we are. I've adjusted everything so that's looking nice. I'm just going to play that to see what that all looks like. And that's looking pretty great. Right, the next thing to do is to save this as a GIF. So what you can either do is you can do Control, Alt, Shift and S, which will bring up your save for web. Just take a few seconds just to render the video ready for exporting. If you prefer not to do it that way, you can go to File, Export As, and then go down to the Save for Web menu there. It's almost open. There we are. So we want to make sure that we save that as a GIF, and that we come down to the looping options and select forever. If you select once, it will just play once and then stop. So just ensure that you've selected forever, and then press save and select where you want to save it to. I'm going to call this one my kettle Cinemagraph, and press save. Doesn't take long to save at all. Well, that's our Cinemagraph made. I'm sure you could come up with a lot more inventive ways of doing your cinemagraphs, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure that you subscribe to our channel to see our next video coming out next week. Hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you soon. Ta-ta for now.